I was raised Catholic, but faith was never what I carried in my rucksack. My prayers were bullets. My creed was the mission. That was Delta Force life. That morning on base started like any other. Cleaning rifle, checking gear. Then the captain called me in. "Mason," he said, flat as stone, "you're being pulled for a temporary detail. International, off the record." "Off the record? What kind of detail?" I asked. "Escort duty, diplomatic cargo." I laughed once, sharp. "You're kidding me. That is not Delta work." His eyes did not move. "Orders from the top. You and another operator will stand closest to the cargo. You make sure it gets to Rome. That's all you need to know." So I shut my mouth. In Delta, orders are orders. 2 days later, I landed in Warsaw. Night air cut sharp. Convoy engines rumbled. In the center, chained tight, was a long wooden crate. Guards circled it like wolves, and waiting beside it, an old priest, thin shoulders but eyes hard as steel. "Father Alden." "You are John Mason," he said, not a question. His voice carried weight. "You will guard the painting tonight. There are 3 rules. Never look at it directly, never remain alone with it. Pray every hour. Do this and you may see morning." I stared at him. "All this for a damn painting?" The other operator smirked. "Sounds like bedtime stories." But Alden did not flinch. He looked me dead in the eye. "You will guard it until dawn, nothing more. When the sun rises, others will replace you. You need only last one night." He turned and walked away. No more words. The crate was loaded. The convoy rolled out. Hours of dark roads later, we entered Vatican walls. Old stone swallowed us whole. The crate was carried down narrow steps into a chamber that smelled of wax and dust. Torches burned low, chains cut, nails pried, the lid lifted. Inside was the painting, covered in heavy black velvet. The air grew dense, wrong, as if the stone itself was holding breath. One of the cardinals spoke. "Remain here, guarded until dawn, do not fail." Then they left, and the door clanged shut. It was just me, the other operator, and that silent, shrouded frame. We set up positions. Hours dragged. The stone chamber pressed on me like a coffin. My partner tapped his rifle, restless. "This is bullshit. We are Delta, man. We take down warlords, raid compounds. Now we babysit a painting." "Orders are orders," I said, not taking my eyes off the room. He grinned, tilted his head toward the shroud. "I want to see it." My gut tightened. "Rule number 1. Do not screw with it." "Since when do we take orders from priests?" he shot back. I cursed under my breath. "Damn it, do not—" Too late. He stepped forward, grabbed the velvet, and tore it back. I caught a glimpse. Crimson, black, shapes twisted like bodies in fire. My stomach flipped as if the canvas itself had teeth. I jerked my gaze away. He did not. His breath hitched. His eyes went wide, pupils blown until only white showed. Then he screamed. "Jesus Christ!" I shouted, rifle raised. He swung his weapon, firing wild, bullets sparking off stone. I hit the ground as hot lead cracked overhead. The chamber roared with gunfire and madness. Then silence. When I rose, he stood shaking, rifle jammed under his chin. "Stop!" I barked. The shot went off. His body crumpled. Smoke drifted through the torches. The shroud lay half pulled, the painting still looming, unseen but felt. My chest hammered against my ribs. The rules were not fairy tales. They were chains. And I was locked in with something that had already claimed one of us. And it was not finished. The chamber was ice after he died. I dragged his body to the corner, pulled a tarp over him, and tried to breathe steady. My hands shook anyway. Blood on the stone floor, the stink of cordite. One night in this place, and it already felt like hell. I had fought warlords, ambushes, firefights that lasted for hours. But this was different. This was a fight you could not see. I sat with my rifle across my lap. The painting loomed under its shroud, quiet, patient, too quiet. Minutes crawled. The silence was wrong, heavy. My ears strained. Then I heard it. A whisper. Mason. I froze. My blood went cold. No way in hell I just heard that. The sound slid through the stone, faint like wind leaking under a door. Then it came again, louder. Mason, I muttered under my breath. Bullshit. Stress. Just stress. But then another voice joined. Not a whisper. A voice I knew. John. Help me. I stopped breathing. My chest locked. That voice belonged to a teammate. He had gone missing a month ago. They told us he never came back from a black mission. Now here he was, calling from the dark. They took me, John. They took all of us. The painting holds us. End it. My grip tightened on my rifle until my knuckles burned. Shut the hell up, I hissed into the dark. You are not real. The door groaned open. I spun, rifle leveled, heart pounding. A Vatican guard stepped in first, silent, to replace my dead partner. He nodded once at me, then posted against the wall, eyes fixed away from the painting. Rule number 2. Never alone. Then Father Alden entered, his black robes dragging across the stone. He looked at the tarp in the corner, at the blood on the floor, and his shoulders sank. But his eyes stayed sharp. You survived, he said. His voice was low, rough. That is rare. I lowered my weapon but kept it tight in my hands. What the hell is this thing? What are we guarding? He walked to the table, set down a folder, and spread it open. Photographs spilled out. Soldiers, guards, different uniforms, all with the same blank stare. Case reports clipped to each. Madness, violence, suicide. I flipped through until I stopped cold. A face I knew. My missing teammate, alive in the photo, smiling in uniform. Below the photo, one word. Deceased. My stomach twisted. They told me he went missing. That was a lie. He died here. Alden's eyes flicked to the shrouded painting. Not just died, taken. Every soul that lingers too long is consumed. The painting grows stronger with each one. My voice came out hard, angry. What the hell kind of prison hangs on a wall? The worst kind, Alden said. One that no one can escape once it has their face. He stared at him, jaw clenched. Why not burn it? Smash it? End it. Many have tried, he said, voice flat. Fire, blades, acid. Every attempt failed. The frame resists destruction. The canvas regenerates. We keep it hidden, guarded, hoping time alone would bury its hunger. I let out a bitter laugh. Hell of a plan. Just lock the monster in a basement and pray it behaves. His eyes narrowed. Do not mock what you do not understand, Mason. You saw what it did to your partner. Do not tempt it further. My fists clenched. I wanted to slam the folder shut, to walk out, to leave this cursed place behind. But the whispers kept sliding through the chamber, this time louder, a chorus, my name repeated again and again. Mason, Mason, Mason. And in the storm of voices, one cut through, desperate, sharp. John, only you can end it. I pressed my palms against my ears. Shut the hell up! My voice cracked. The Vatican guard across the room glanced at me but said nothing. He kept his eyes fixed to the wall, jaw tight, as if he heard them too. Alden's gaze stayed on me. It knows you now. That is why you must not break. Stay awake. Do not answer it. And above all, do not look at it. He turned and moved toward the door. His shadow stretched long against the wall. Before leaving, he looked back once. Guard it until dawn. That is your mission. Last until morning, and you will walk out alive. The door shut. Metal bolts scraped into place. The guard and I sat in silence. He gave me a glance, just one, a reminder of rule number 1. Do not look. I leaned back against the wall, rifle heavy across my knees. My body was stone, but inside I was shaking. The whispers did not stop. They grew, filling every corner, clawing through my head. They called in voices of brothers I had lost, voices begging, voices cursing me. I closed my eyes, whispered to myself like I was back in training. You are Delta. You do not break. You do not run. Hold the damn line. But my heart hammered, my breath ragged. The torches flickered, flames bending inward as if drawn to the covered frame. The shroud quivered like something behind it moved. I gripped my rifle until my hands hurt. Dawn was hours away, and I knew deep down I might not see it. Morning came like a mercy I did not deserve. When the heavy door unlocked, I was half awake, half lost, rifle clenched across my chest. My body felt like it had gone 10 rounds with something I could not hit back. The whispers had not stopped all night, and my ears still rang with them. 2 cardinals entered, faces calm, polished. They did not look at the body under the tarp. They did not look at me. One of them simply said, "Your duty is finished. You may leave." Just like that. No questions, no explanations. I rose to my feet, stiff, aching, my eyes burning from lack of sleep. I wanted answers, damn it. I wanted someone to tell me what the hell I'd been guarding. But all I got was silence and cold stares. At the door, Father Alden stood waiting. His eyes lingered on me longer than the others. "You lasted the night," he said quietly. I barked a dry laugh. "Yeah, barely. You saw enough to know the rules are real." "I saw my teammate's face in your damn folder," I snapped. "You people fed him to this thing, and now you want me to just walk away?" Alden's mouth tightened. "You lived. That means you can leave. Do not ask more. Sign the papers, keep your silence, and return to your unit." My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I wanted to grab him, shake him, demand every answer. Instead, I just nodded once and walked past. Orders. Always orders. They brought me to a small room. A sheet of paper waited, a contract. By signing, I swore to bury everything I had seen underground with the stone of the Vatican. I stared at the line where my name should go. The whispers from the night pressed in on me, faint but still there, like echoes that refused to die. "Mason, only you can end it." My hand trembled. Then I scrawled my name. By the time I left the walls of the Vatican, I felt like a man unshackled, but the weight stayed. I checked into a hotel nearby, set my rifle against the wall, collapsed onto the bed. For the first time in years, I felt small, helpless. The ceiling fan spun slow above me. The room was quiet, too quiet. My head replayed the night, my partner's scream, the gunshot, the folder of dead men. My missing teammate's smile staring back at me, stamped, deceased. I rolled over, punched the pillow. "Damn it, shut up," I growled, but I was not talking to the pillow. I was talking to the voices still crawling through my skull. Sleep did not come easy. When it did, it was not sleep. I dreamed of the painting, black velvet pulled back, figures twisting, mouths screaming. My teammate's face pressed against the canvas, eyes wide, mouth begging. "John," he whispered in the dream, "you cannot walk away. Only you can burn it." I jerked awake, drenched in sweat. My heart hammered, my hands shook. The room was still dark, the city silent outside. I poured a glass of water, downed it in one gulp, stared at myself in the mirror. Bloodshot eyes, jaw tight, like a man already half broken. The next day dragged. I tried to focus on the call from my captain back in the States. "Mason, you're cleared. Get back on a flight. You return to Delta tomorrow. Understood?" "Yes, sir," I said. My voice sounded hollow, even to me. Orders, always orders. That night, back in the hotel, I lay flat staring at the ceiling. The whispers had gone quiet, but silence was worse. It felt like waiting for a shot I could not dodge. My phone buzzed once, a message from command. "Flight confirmed. Oro 700, wheels up, back to work." I dropped the phone, closed my eyes, forced myself not to think about the painting buried under the Vatican, not to think about the folder full of dead men, not to think about the rules. But the voices came back anyway, softer this time, not screams, not cries, just one voice, my teammate. John, if you leave, it will take more. It will never stop. Only you can end it. I sat up, heart hammering. I wanted to scream at the walls, to smash the lamp, to drown it out. Instead, I pressed my palms into my face and muttered, I am not your damn savior. I am just a soldier. The room stayed silent, but my gut told me the fight was not finished. I stared at the clock. Hours until dawn, hours until the flight, and I knew deep down I was lying to myself. I could not walk away. Not when the voices would never let me go. Morning light cut through the curtains. I had not slept more than an hour. My bag was packed, rifle case ready, ticket back to the States on my phone. Delta was calling, and every part of me wanted to disappear into routine. Missions, briefings, orders, a life where things made sense. I opened the door of the hotel room, stepping out into the street. Cold air slapped my face. And there he was, Father Alden. He stood pale, hunched, eyes wide like a man carrying news too heavy for his bones. His voice cracked when he spoke. It is gone, he said. The painting, it was stolen. My stomach dropped. You're kidding me, he shook his head, trembling. 5 Vatican guards are dead. Their bodies were broken like straw. The men who took it, they were not men anymore. God damn it, I muttered. I rubbed my eyes, but the weight did not lift. How the hell do you lose something locked under half a mile of stone? Alden's lips tightened. It was no accident. They came for it. They knew exactly what to do. A sect, a cult. They want to finish what the painting began. My pulse hammered. I thought of my teammate's voice in the whispers, telling me only I could end it. I had tried to bury that voice. Now it was back, louder than ever. Listen, I said, forcing my voice steady. My job is done. Contract signed. I am on a plane in 2 hours. This is your problem, not mine. Alden stepped closer, his hands shaking as he clutched my arm. You cannot walk away. You lasted the night. You heard them. It chose you. If they finish their ritual, the thing inside will walk free. I pulled away. Not my damn fight. His eyes burned. Then whose fight is it? Those guards died for nothing? The next will be thousands. The world does not know it yet, but hell just cracked open. I stared at him, jaw tight, rage boiling under my skin. Rage at him, at the Vatican, at the bullshit silence that smothered everything. Rage at myself for knowing he was right. I could have left, should have left, but the voices would not let me. My dead teammate's face burned in my mind, whispering from the dark, only you can end it. Son of a bitch, I growled. I slammed my bag down on the curb. Fine. Where? Relief flickered across Alden's face. Follow me. There are things you must see. The trail's already warm. He led me through narrow streets, past tourists who had no idea what nightmares slept under their feet. We slipped back inside Vatican walls, down corridors I had not seen before. The chamber was chaos. Blood smeared across the floor. The air still stank of gunpowder and death. The tarp over my dead partner was gone. In his place lay 5 more bodies, Vatican guards twisted and broken. Jesus Christ, I muttered. Alden bent low, fingers trembling as he traced a mark on one of the walls. Black streaks, not paint, not soot. Symbols burned into the stone, glowing faint in the dim light. They left their trail, he said, a ritual path. It points outward to a place where they can complete the summoning. I crouched by the mark. It reeked of rot. My skin crawled just looking at it. Where does it lead? To an abandoned church, Alden whispered, far outside the city. A place forgotten, chosen for its isolation. They need space to call it out, space where screams will not be heard. My gut twisted. And if they finish? His eyes met mine, grim. then no wall, no army, no prayer will stop what walks through. I stood, jaw tight, fists clenched. My orders from Delta screamed at me to get back on the damn plane, to shut this down, bury it, pretend none of it happened. But looking at those bodies, listening to Alden's voice, I knew there was no going back. "All right," I said. My voice was steel. "We hunt them. We end this. But you listen close, Father. If I am in, I'm not playing by your church rules. We do it my way." Alden gave the faintest nod. "As long as it is ended." I turned to the blood-stained floor one last time. The whispers were gone, but the silence screamed louder. This was no escort mission anymore. This was war. I followed Alden through the Vatican like a shadow. Long corridors, locked doors, stairwells that smelled of mold and smoke. We moved past tourists on the outer levels who had no idea the heart of the city was bleeding underneath their feet. We stopped at a chamber where the stone was scorched. The smell of burnt flesh clung to the air. On the walls, black streaks twisted into symbols, not graffiti, not paint. They looked carved by something that was not human. Alden touched one with the back of his hand. "The cult leaves these as markers. They do not hide their path. They believe the painting cannot be stopped now." I crouched, tracing the mark with my eyes. It pulsed faint, like it was still alive. "So they want us to follow. Or they do not care if we do," Alden said. "Their faith is arrogance." I spat on the floor. "Arrogant or not, they killed 5 of your men. They are not walking away from this." He gave me a look. "You speak as if it is just men you face?" I stood, jaw tight. "Call them what you want. I know how to put things down." We pushed deeper. At a sealed archive door, Alden produced a ring of keys, unlocked it, and we stepped inside. Old maps, coded letters, and more of those photos of dead soldiers lay on tables. Among them were sketches of a building, an abandoned church, tall spires broken, roof caved in, isolated in the mountains miles from Rome. Alden tapped the parchment. "This is where they go, a place forgotten, cursed even by local memory. They need space, silence, and secrecy. There, they will finish the ritual." I studied the sketch. My gut twisted. "And you want me to walk into that?" "You lasted the night," Alden said simply. "You carry the mark of survival. That is why you must go." Before I could answer, the chamber door opened behind us. Heavy boots echoed. A squad of Vatican soldiers entered, armored and armed with rifles. At their head, a man with a square jaw and eyes like iron, Captain Marcus Kane. He looked me over. "So this is the American." I stared right back. "That a problem?" He did not blink. "Only if you slow us down." Alden stepped between us. "Enough! Marcus, you and your men will go with him. The cult has taken the painting. They must not finish their work." Marcus gave a sharp nod. "Understood." He gestured, and 2 soldiers moved forward. Jonah Briggs, tall and steady, eyes clear, and Thomas Vane, younger, restless, fingers twitching at the grip of his weapon. "These are my best," Marcus said. "Jonah follows orders to the letter. Vane, still learning, but loyal enough." Vane muttered under his breath. "Loyal, sure. Just do not expect me to say prayers while charging a gunfight." Marcus snapped, "Quiet!" I sized them up. Professional enough, but I had seen nerves break good men before. "All right," I said. "So we have a path, a target, and a team. When do we move?" Marcus answered flat. "Tonight?" I almost smiled. Straight to business. That was something I could respect. We geared up in silence. Vatican Armory was nothing compared to what I had at Delta, but a rifle is a rifle. I strapped on plates, checked magazines, and made sure I had a blade sharp enough to gut a man if needed. Alden approached as I adjusted my vest. His voice was low, urgent. "When you reach the church, remember the rules. Do not look at the painting. Do not stand alone. pray, even if you do not believe. And Mason? What? I asked, tightening a strap. If the moment comes, it may demand more from you than bullets. I sighed, shaking my head. Always with the riddles, Father. He gripped my arm. Not riddles, warnings. We rolled out after dusk. A convoy of black vans, engines growling through narrow streets, then out toward the mountains. I watched the city lights fade in the rear view, replaced by shadows and silence. Jonah sat across from me, quiet, steady. Thomas Vane fidgeted beside him, muttering curses under his breath. Marcus sat at the end, eyes forward, jaw locked. Professional, focused, maybe too rigid. The road climbed higher, winding into dark hills. Trees closed in, branches clawing at the glass. I checked my rifle one last time, chambered around. So this is it, a church full of freaks and one cursed painting. Jonah spoke for the first time. Then we break them. Thomas let out a nervous laugh. Break them with what? Bullets? Did you not hear the priest? That crap does not work on demons. Marcus snapped. Enough! We fight with what we have and we do not break. I smirked, half under my breath. Sounds familiar. The van jolted over a rough patch of road. Silence fell again. I looked out the window at the black horizon, a knot twisting in my gut. Somewhere out there, the cult was waiting, the painting glowing in a ruined church. And if Alden was right, we were already too late. The vans could not climb any higher. The road turned to cracked stone and dirt, winding up toward the black outline of a ruined church. Its spires were broken, jagged like teeth against the sky. No lights, no sound, just the weight of something wrong pressing down on us. We dismounted, boots crunching gravel. The night was cold, damp, heavy. I felt it in my bones. Marcus gave hand signals, silent advance, Jonah at his flank, Thomas Vane muttering under his breath but keeping close. I brought up the rear, rifle steady, eyes scanning. The closer we got, the worse it felt. Air thicker, harder to breathe. The stone walls of the church glowed faint like embers under ash. We slipped through a side arch with no doors. Inside, the nave stretched long and broken, pews shattered, dust thick as fog. And there at the altar stood the painting, velvet torn away, canvas naked, alive. It pulsed. The twisted figures inside moved like they were drowning in tar. Colors bled, red and black shifting like liquid, and around it knelt the cult, dozens of them, black robes, faces hidden. At their head, a tall man with long hair tied back, his eyes like pits of coal. Lucian Crow. He lifted his arms, chanting words that rattled my skull. The air shook with them. The painting flared, shadows bending inward. Jesus Christ, I muttered. We watched as one of the cultists rose, stepped forward, and looked straight at the canvas. Not a flinch, no scream. His eyes glowed faint red as if the painting poured straight into him. He turned, face split by a grin too wide, too sharp. They are not men anymore, Jonah whispered. No shit, I said, jaw tight. Marcus raised a fist. On my mark. I checked my rifle, chambered around. My hands were steady, but my gut twisted. Every instinct told me this was wrong, but orders were orders. Marcus dropped his hand. We opened fire. The first volley ripped into the cult. Black robes snapped, bodies staggered. For a second I thought we had them. Then they turned. One by one they rose, bullet holes smoking but no blood. Their heads tilted back, jaws cracking open, eyes burning red. They came at us fast, too fast. God damn it, I shouted, firing again. Rounds punched through chests, heads, nothing stopped them. Jonah shoved a bayonet through one's throat. It shrieked, body jerking, then collapsed. Blades, I yelled. Go for the neck. Steel flashed. Marcus's knife cut deep into another cultist's throat. The thing gurgled, black smoke pouring from the wound before it dropped. Thomas panicked, firing his rifle wild. One of them slammed into him, claws raking his vest. He screamed, knife shaking in his grip. I dove, buried my blade into its neck. It shrieked and fell. Thomas gasped, wide-eyed. What the hell are these things? Not people, I growled, yanking my knife free. Focus. We carved our way through them, steel and sweat and curses, bodies piled, black smoke rising. But Lucian Crow did not move. He kept chanting, louder now, hands stretched to the painting. The canvas flared, shapes inside twisting harder, mouth screaming without sound. The ground shook, dust rained from the rafters, and then it happened. The painting split like skin. A claw pushed through, long and jagged, then a horn. Then half a face, monstrous, teeth like knives. The demon was coming through. My chest went tight. I fired round after round, useless. The claw swung, an invisible force slamming me into a pillar. My ribs burned. I staggered up, coughing blood. Marcus and Jonah fought like devils themselves, blades cutting, boots stomping. Thomas shrieked as another cultist grabbed him. Jonah tackled it off him, stabbing until it stopped moving. Lucian laughed, a sound that scraped bone. You cannot stop what is already born. The demon shoved further out of the canvas. Shoulders, half a chest, black and burning. Its roar shook the church, rattling every stone. I steadied my rifle, knowing it would not matter. Son of a bitch, I muttered. The fight had just begun. The church shook like an earthquake. Dust rained from the rafters, stones groaned, wood split. Half the demon's body hung out of the painting, horns, claws, chest like burning coal. Its roar hit like shock waves, rattling my ribs. The cult charged us again, bodies jerking like puppets, eyes glowing red. Bullets tore through them, useless. The bastards just kept coming. Knives, I screamed. Go for the neck. Jonah heard me first. He gutted one with a bayonet, twisted hard, black smoke pouring out as it dropped. Marcus slashed another open, his blade catching bone. The thing shrieked and fell. But there were too many. One slammed into me, teeth snapping inches from my throat. I rammed my knife under its jaw, hot smoke hissing in my face as it died. Another grabbed my vest, dragging me down. Jonah tore it off me, stabbing again and again until it stopped moving. Thomas Vane fired wild, panic in his eyes. They are everywhere! Jesus Christ! Shut up and stab! I roared, shoving a blade into another's throat. The floor was slick with black ooze, the air stinking of smoke and rot. My arms burned from the weight of constant strikes. For everyone we dropped, two more swarmed. Then Lucian's voice rose above the chaos. His chant shook the walls, words twisting, not human. The painting flared, the demon ripping further out, shoulders, arms like spears, claws dragging deep scars into the stone. Marcus! I shouted. He is finishing it! Marcus rammed his knife into a cultist's skull, blood spraying. Then stop him! I tried to push forward, but a wall of bodies hit me, 3 at once, claws tearing, teeth snapping. I jammed my knife into the first, used my boot to kick the second off, but the third slammed me against the altar. My vision blurred. Jonah tackled it off me, steel flashing. He killed it, but claws raked his arm deep. Blood sprayed across the floor. He hissed, teeth gritted. I am fine. Keep moving. Bullshit, he was bleeding bad, but we had no time. Thomas screamed. I spun to see 2 cultists drag him down, claws raking his chest. He fired point blank, useless. Marcus lunged in, blade cutting throats, saving him for the second. Thomas gasped, pale, shaking. They are not human. They are not human. No shit, I growled, hauling him up. The demon's head ripped free of the canvas, horns scraping the ceiling. Eyes like pits of fire. Its roar shattered stained glass, shards raining down like knives. Lucian laughed, arms wide. Behold your master. I steadied my rifle anyway, heart pounding. Useless or not, firing was all I had left. I emptied a full mag into his chest. Bullets sparked, smoke hissed, but Lucian did not fall. He just smiled. Marcus grabbed my shoulder. The priest was right. Only steel, only blood. I dropped the rifle, drew my blade again. Then we cut them all. We fought like mad dogs. Blades sank into necks, black smoke choking the air. My arms went numb from stabbing, my throat raw from shouting. But one by one, we dropped. 2 soldiers from Marcus's squad went down first, throats torn open, their screams cut short. A third had his chest ripped wide by a claw, body thrown against the wall like trash. Jonah staggered. Bleeding heavy from his arm, he still fought, bayonet flashing, eyes hard. Marcus barked orders, cutting down anything in reach. Thomas stumbled behind us, pale, shaking, more liability than help. I slammed my knife into another throat, ripped it free, smoke spraying my face. My chest heaved, lungs on fire. We were winning inches but losing men. Then the demon's claw swept across the nave. A shockwave slammed us all to the ground. Benches shattered, stone cracked. My ears rang. I rolled onto my stomach, vision spinning. The painting glowed red hot, the demon half out, muscles straining, teeth gnashing. Lucian's chant rose, triumphant. He looked right at me. "You cannot stop this, soldier. Your blood belongs to him." I spat blood. "Come take it, asshole." I staggered up, knife dripping black smoke, body shaking but still moving. Marcus met my eyes, jaw steel. "Hold the line!" Jonah limped beside him, pale but alive. Thomas reloaded with trembling hands, muttering curses through tears. We faced the swarm, the demon, the priest, outnumbered, outmatched, and I knew one thing for certain. We were not all walking out of this. The church was splitting apart. Stones cracked, beams groaned, air hot as fire pouring out of the painting. Half the demon was already free, horns scraping the rafters, chest like burning rock, claws dragging stone to dust. Its roar shook the nave, rattled my bones. Lucian Crow never stopped chanting. His voice cut like blades, words not made for human tongues. The cult around him swayed, bodies broken but still moving, puppets to the canvas. Marcus shouted over the roar, "Hold the line!" Jonah, bleeding from his arm, raised his bayonet again. Thomas' vein shook, pale as chalk, rifle clutched useless. The demon's claw swept wide. Pews shattered like matchsticks. 2 Vatican soldiers were crushed against the wall, their screams cut short. "God damn it!" I roared, charging forward. A cultist leapt at me, claws out. I buried my knife in its neck, twisted hard. Black smoke sprayed, the thing collapsing. Another lunged, and Marcus gutted it mid-air. But for every one we dropped, more came, and the demon kept pushing, shoulders ripping free, wings tearing through canvas, head thrashing, eyes like pits of fire. Jonah staggered, blood soaking his side. A cultist slammed into him, claws sinking deep. He still drove his bayonet home, killing it, but the wound finished him. He sagged in my arms, voice a rasp. "End it, Mason. Do not let it walk." Then his body went limp. Rage hit me harder than any claw. I shoved the corpse aside, knife dripping black ooze. Son of a bitch. Marcus fought like a machine, blade cutting, but even he slowed. Sweat poured, blood streaked his face. Another cultist slashed his arm, and he killed it through the pain. Thomas panicked, firing wild. "It will not die. We cannot stop this." "Shut the hell up and fight!" I roared, stabbing deep into another throat. The demon roared again, one leg ripping free. The floor split under its weight. Heat seared my skin. Lucian's voice rose, triumphant. "The vessel is open. The Lord of Horns walks free." The demon's claw lashed down, crushing a soldier flat. Bones cracked, blood sprayed. Another scream cut short. Thomas broke. He dropped his rifle and bolted. "We're finished!" A claw came down before he reached the door. One swipe and he was nothing but blood on the stone. "Damn coward!" Marcus growled, slashing another cultist. I fought like a man possessed. Blade sank, black smoke hissed. Bodies dropped, but we were bleeding out and the monster was almost through. Then, a voice cut through the chaos. Not Lucian, not the demon. A whisper inside my skull. John, the relic. The blood. You know what to do. For a heartbeat, I froze. Then memory slammed back, just before we left Vatican grounds as we loaded gear into the vans. Father Alden had pulled me aside, his hand gripping mine, slipping something into my palm. A small fragment of wood, dark and carved with symbols. "This is all that was ever taken from the frame," he had whispered. "It is dangerous, but it may be the only wound it carries. If the hour comes, it will demand blood. Mason, remember." I had shoved it into my pack without a word, too focused on the mission to care. But now, in this hell, his voice was louder than the demon's. Back in the church, the relic burned in my memory like a brand. I felt it even through the chaos heavy in my pack. Lucian saw my hesitation and laughed. "Yes, soldier, it calls to you as it calls to me. You are already chosen." "Shut your damn mouth," I spat, ripping my knife from another throat, but my gut twisted. The relic was real, and it wanted my blood. Marcus staggered beside me, face smeared with ash. "Mason," he barked, "we need a miracle, now." The demon's wings tore wider, canvas splitting, flames pouring. The church shook itself apart. I tightened my grip on the knife, feeling the relic's weight like fire in my pack. The whispers screamed louder. "Blood. Blood. End it." For the first time, I knew exactly what had to happen. This was not about orders or contracts or even survival. This was my fight, and I was almost out of time. The church was coming down around us. The demon had torn itself nearly free, horns scraping the roof, wings spread wide, claws dripping molten fire. Every roar split the stone, rattling the marrow in my bones. Lucian Crow stood at the altar, his voice a knife in the chaos. "The vessel is open. The Lord of Horns rises." Marcus was bleeding from half a dozen wounds, his knife black with smoke, but he still stood tall. Only one soldier was left with us, shaking, eyes wide. The rest were dead, torn apart or burned alive. I yanked the relic from my pack. The piece of wood pulsed like a heart, hot in my grip. The whispers slammed into me the second I touched it. "Blood. Blood. Mason. Now." I flipped my blade, took a breath, and dragged it across my palm. Pain flared, blood spilling fast. The relic hissed in my hand, glowing red, symbols burning bright. Marcus's eyes locked on it. "What the hell is that?" "Insurance," I growled. The demon thrashed half its body free, fire tearing up the nave. Lucian laughed like a madman. "You cannot stop him, soldier. You are already his." I ignored him, shoved the relic onto the ground before the painting, blood pouring into the wood. The whole church shook. Light flared, shadows screamed. I shouted at Marcus and the last soldier, "Form a circle, around the altar, do it now!" Marcus barked the order louder, his voice steel. "Circle, hold the line!" We spread out, 3 broken men against hell itself. Our boots planted in blood and ash, our blades ready, our voices raw. The relic burned brighter, feeding on my blood. The whispers inside me clawed deep, trying to break me. "Give in, John, be the vessel, end it our way." "Not a chance," I spat, pressing harder. Marcus shouted verses, his voice hoarse but firm. The last soldier followed, trembling but steady. Their words rose with mine, ragged, desperate, but together. The demon shrieked, wings beating, claws slamming against the circle. A shock wave blasted through us, knocking the last soldier off his feet. He hit a pillar, bones cracking. His scream cut short. Marcus and I held. 2 left. The relic glowed white-hot, nearly burning through my hand. My blood sizzled as it sank into the wood. I gritted my teeth, shouted louder. "Back to the pit, you bastard! You're not walking this earth!" The painting shuddered, canvas twisting, figures inside screaming louder. The demon's massive body jerked, yanked backward, flames ripping off its skin. Lucian howled, rushing forward. "No! He's ours!" I lunged and met him head on. My knife drove straight into his throat. He gagged, blood black as tar pouring down his chest. His eyes burned hate into mine as he crumpled at my feet. The demon roared one last time, claws tearing, wings flaring wide. But the relic split in two, light pouring from the cracks. My blood soaked the floor, mixing with ash and fire. I pressed harder, screaming with everything left in me. Marcus bellowed beside me, voice raw and broken. The demon's body was ripped back into the canvas, horns last to vanish. The painting convulsed, burning from the inside out, colors twisting into fire. Then it erupted. Flames blasted through the nave, heat so fierce it felt like my skin would peel. The altar exploded, stones flying like shrapnel. The ceiling cracked, walls caving. Marcus grabbed my arm, dragging me backward. "Move, Mason, move!" We stumbled through fire and smoke, lungs burning, vision blurred. Behind us, the painting screamed as it turned to ash, the demon's voice fading into silence. We hit the doors just as the roof came down. The night air slammed into my face, cool compared to the inferno inside. I collapsed on the ground, coughing blood, body shaking. Marcus dropped beside me, his face half burned, eyes still alive. "It is done," he rasped. I looked back. The church was nothing but fire, walls falling, sky filled with smoke. My palm still bled, the relic gone, nothing but dust. I let out a bitter laugh. No, we bought time, that is all. The fire roared behind me, a grave for the demon, for Lucian, for everyone who bled to keep it caged. And I knew it was not over, not yet. The night sky glowed red as the church collapsed. Flames tore through stone and glass, a monster's funeral pyre. Marcus and I crawled out on our hands and knees, coughing blood, skin blistered, lungs scorched. Behind us, the roof gave way, the roar of fire drowning everything else. I lay in the mud, chest heaving, the smell of ash thick as smoke. My palm still bled, shredded raw. The relic that had burned so bright was gone, nothing but dust in the wind. Marcus coughed, his voice a rasp. "We did it!" I forced a bitter laugh. "No, we bought time. Vatican reinforcements came with the dawn, black vans, armed men in robes, medics with pale faces. They patched us, wrapped bandages around our wounds, but no one asked questions. No one spoke of the bodies. No one said Lucian's name. They loaded Marcus on a stretcher. He muttered verses through cracked lips, eyes burning, even half dead. I walked under my own power, barely. Inside the walls, the silence was heavier than the flames. Doctors worked, priests whispered, cardinals in crimson stood watch. Finally, one of them came to me with a contract. His voice was smooth, rehearsed. "The matter is finished. The world must never know. You will return to your unit. This night never happened." I stared at him, rage crawling up my throat. 5 guards dead, a squad wiped out, a demon clawing its way free, and your answer is paperwork? His eyes were cold stone. "Our answer is survival." I wanted to break his jaw. Instead, I signed. The pen dug deep into the paper, the ink blotched, my hand shaking. 2 weeks later, I was back at base. Delta life. Same barracks, same rifles, same briefings. My captain greeted me like I had never left. "You're cleared, Mason. Ready for redeployment." I nodded, kept my mouth shut. The men laughed, smoked, played cards. But I could not hear them. At night, I still smelled ash. Sometimes I swore I heard voices in the silence. My dead teammate Jonah, the others, whispers clawing at the edges of my mind. "Mason, only you can end it." I drowned it with whiskey, with push-ups, with missions. Nothing worked. Then one night I came back to my bunk and found an envelope on the bed. Plain, white, no stamp, no sender. my name written in black ink. My gut tightened. My hands shook as I tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No greeting, no explanation, just one line. The painting was never completely burned.